ESPN and Bleacher Report both believe that the Chicago Bears could be the best fit for Yannick Ngakoue moving in through this offseason. We'll talk about that and more on today's episode of the Windy City Breeze Sports Talk Daily. Let's go. Now, if you are new to the channel, please like the video. Please subscribe to the page. We do talk Chicago sports daily on this channel. It's the only channel talking Chicago sports, how Chicago talk. So make sure that you get in tune with us, man. So the Chicago Bears are being linked with Bleacher Report and ESPN as the best fit for defensive edge rusher Yannick Ngakoue. It's very interesting because, right, like, listen, y'all know how I felt about Yannick Ngakoue. I think he's a no-brainer here. I know there's some people out there that believe that he's a pass rush liability, or not a pass rush. I'm sorry. He's a run blocking liability. He's not a good run blocker. He's not a 3-down guy. You can't overpay for this guy. Listen, he literally would be the best pass rusher we would have had on our team by a mile last season. I'm very big on him coming in here and providing pressure. I think that he would be an easy name. Matt Bowen of ESPN broke it down. He said with Yannick Ngakoue in the mix, playing opposite of free agent addition DeMarcus Walker, the Bears could boost their edge production in nickel fronts, which is critical for the defense that had a league low 20 sacks. And I mean, that's just realistic, right? That's honest. Your best sacker last season, or your best guy in the backfield sacker, I don't know what that is. Your best guy in the backfield last season was Jaquan Brisker, who led the team with 4. Safety shouldn't be leading your team in sacks. That's the main thing. And when you look at this guy's career, right, I think the most interesting part of what Yannick Ngakoue could bring to this Bears team is the fact that at the end of the day, he hasn't been a guy who's had to be on teams for a long time. He hasn't been a guy who sat there and wasn't able to be plugged in or wasn't able to fit in perfectly just by him going to a situation. He's been kind of the mercenary guy. When you look at his career, right, he's been with 6 teams in 7 seasons. He's been with the Jaguars, Vikings, Ravens, Raiders, and Colts. Look at these seasons here, right? He split time in 2020. He ended up with 8 sacks in 2020 with the Vikings and the Ravens. He was with the Jaguars in 2018, 9.5. Jaguars 2017, 12. Jaguars 2016, 8. After that, he gets moved on to the Raiders 2021. He's got 10 sacks with the Raiders, goes to the Colts the next year. He's got 9.5 sacks with the Colts. So you don't have to worry about, okay, how's this guy going to fit with these guys? How's this guy going to make this work? Yannick Ngakoue is the guy that makes it work. He is the guy that goes out there and gets the job done. And I know a lot of people's fear with him is, 1, is he going to be here is he going to be a long-term guy for the Chicago Bears? And 2, is he going to be able to fit in with what we currently have here? I don't think that you have to worry about either of those when you're looking at what Yannick Ngakoue brings to the table, because to me, I think that he creates the culture that he goes to. He's going to be able to create that pass rush pressure. And I think you just have to be able to go out and rush these quarterbacks, put pressure on these quarterbacks, not only just from the middle, but also from the edges for you to be able to take that next step. And even if he has a down season, let's say he has a down season, right? He has 6 sacks. That's 2 sacks better. 2 sacks better than anybody you had on the team last season. Oh, by the way, it's 3 sacks better than any defensive lineman you had last season. I think that Yannick Ngakoue to me is a no-brainer. Let me know how you guys feel in the comments below. I'll be down to talk with you as well. Let me know if you think the Chicago Bears should be in on Yannick Ngakoue. Do you think that the best fit for him is Chicago? Here's another one, right? Maurice Moulton from Bleacher Report talked about Yannick Ngakoue coming to the Bears. He said, under general manager Ryan Poles, who took over the role in January 2022, Chicago traded Khalil Mack and Robert Quinn to the Los Angeles Chargers and Philadelphia Eagles. Respectfully, Last season, rookie safety Jaquan Brisker led the team with just 4 sacks. As of Wednesday, the Bears still have $32.6 million in cap space, the most across the league. They could sign Yannick Ngakoue to strengthen a defensive unit that generated the second lowest pressure rate, 15.9%. That is crazy for the 2022 term. And so here's, again, when you look at this, right, you've got the money to spend. It's not like you're going out there and spending it on a question mark. And I think that's the one part where I look at a lot of people with the look of confusion, because it feels like you believe that Yannick Ngakoue is going to be, somehow take a step back here in Chicago, or it's an overpay. You can't overpay for a guy that's giving you this level of consistency, and he's 28 years old, guys. I think realistically, right, to me, this is not just the possibility for a one and done move. This is something that I think you kind of have to look into and try and see if this is the long-term move where you can get him to buy in here long-term. Reason being, you look at the everybody talks about the what is it? How many I count again? 6 teams in 7 years, right? He ends up getting traded once. In one team, they were rebuilding. They didn't want to bring him back. When you look at the Raiders, they were terrible. Even though he was successful there, he ends up moving on from them, goes to the Colts for a year, and the Colts is kind of the same situation. They brought him in as a mercenary type of player, didn't want to bring him back. I don't know why they didn't want to bring him back, but doesn't seem like they wanted to bring him back. But I guess I do know. They're resetting things. They have other places where they want to spend their money. They're trying to do things on the offensive side of the ball. Fine. But I don't think that Yannick Ngakoue is looking to just be this mercenary his entire career. I think that he would like to settle in somewhere, and I think that Chicago could be a really nice place for him. Is the price going to be a little bit high? Maybe, right? Like, it's free agency. You're overpaying at the end of the day anyway. But I think the main thing for me is I'm overpaying for a guy who I know can come out and give me this production, who at his worst in his rookie season has been 8 sacks. At his worst is 8 sacks. You're also pairing him with DeMarcus Walker on the other side, who I think is a really interesting pair. And hopefully, right, you're going to see some pressure from the middle from Justin Jones, from Andrew Billings, who was being described as a monster of a man. And then hopefully, right, like, at the end of the day, you see this Bears team go out there and be able to finally just generate that pressure. I think that this is such a key piece for this defense, because if you're able to get that pressure on him, I think that allows Tremaine Edmonds to be the guy that he is, TJ Edwards to be the guy that we've seen. I think that allows your DBs to take that next step to becoming, hopefully, the people that we hope that they're going to be, right? The players that we hope they're going to be. I think that that's why you need to look at this and get that pressure up front, because if you're not getting that pressure up front, you're missing out on opportunities. Hey, let me know how you guys feel, man. Like I said, let me know in the comments below. I'll be down there talking with you guys as well. Do you feel like Yannick Ngakoue should be on the Bears' radar? Should he be at the top of the Bears' radar? Or do you think the Bears should pass on Yannick Ngakoue altogether? Let me know in the comments below. Something else to break down. Jalen Johnson spoke today, talked about where he's been, said he's been spending time with his daughter out west, and he had his camp, of course, that first week of training camp, and that he will be back for OTAs next week. Good to hear. Glad to hear him. You guys have heard how I felt about his absence here. Doesn't change the way that I feel about his absence. I'm glad that he's spending time with his daughter. I'm glad that he's, taking this time out. I don't know the circumstances on, if he's doing like the relationship thing, or if he's, this is the only time that he was going to be able to get his daughter. If it's the only time he's going to be able to get his daughter, all right, cool. I can understand that. And he doesn't see her during the season, basically, right? I believe she stays back in Fresno, with where he's from. So, he was back home with her. Love it. Love that you're being a great dad. Love that you're a part of her life. All of that is amazing. But if we could have scheduled this at a different time, it's not like OTA snuck up on Jalen Johnson. Again, it goes back to leadership for me. If you're going to be the leader, you have to be there. You have to make these times. You have to schedule out these times, even if it is voluntary. I know a lot of people don't believe that voluntary matters, but if you're a leader, voluntary means mandatory. Voluntary means you have to show up if you're the number one guy. I think that I don't think, again, it's going to affect him. Is it going to affect him this season? Absolutely not. I still think that there could have been a implication on those first 2 weeks. I'm not going to show up. I'm going to play the long game. I'm going to play the, hey, I could have scheduled this another time, but at the end of the day, I'm taking this time for me. I want you guys to understand that I'm not happy with this situation. I think there's still some contract implications that could have come in because, again, could this have been scheduled at a different time? But at a minimum, hey, he's going to be here next week. Hopefully he comes in ready to go. He has been talking with his DB coach the entire time, has been working with his DB coach the entire time. But again, I listened to how the Bears talked. I listened to what the Bears said, what the Bears coaches said. Matt Eberflus called this invaluable information. Alan Williams basically just said, no comment. I would like, all the guys to be here, but they're not. It tells you what the coaches think about this. And if you think they're thinking anything else, go listen. I was on with Jason McKee yesterday on the Chicago Bears podcast. Go listen to what he had to say about it. He basically said, you can hear in their tones that that's great coach speak, and he did a great job of smoothing that over. But at the end of the day, they want him there no matter what the circumstances were. But at the end of the day, listen, it is voluntary. I think that it probably speaks to a little bit of how they feel about it when the voluntary is viewed as voluntary. Again, Nate Davis is the weirdest one. I'll say this till the cows come home. Why the heck isn't Nate Davis here? I'm sure there'll be something that comes out about him not being here because it's voluntary, but like, you have a rookie that's standing next to you that it probably benefits you to know how he's going to play, how he's going to step, how he's going to move. Is he going to step, a little too close to your ankle? Or are there things you can teach him to make sure that you guys are all cohesive? I think that that's the weirdest one at the end of the day. But again, good to see that Jalen Johnson is going to be back next week. Hope that he's able to come out here and make an impact right away and prove why the Chicago Bears should give him that long-term deal. But hey, I do want to know how you guys feel on all the topics at hand. Let me know in the comments below. I'll be down there talking with you as well. As always, it's your boy, Pat the Designer, back at it again. Y'all stay safe out there, Chicago. To continue watching our Bears content, click the link on the screen or check the links in the description below. Peace.